Hello, my dear students. Today I'm going to teach you Science Chapter 8 Properties of Water, the second part. Soluble and insoluble substance. Substance such as milk, which dissolve completely in water, are said to be soluble in water. Some other examples of soluble substance are salt, sugar, honey, etc. So student, substance such as milk which dissolve completely in water, are said to be soluble. And some example of soluble substance are salt, sugar, honey, which completely dissolve in water. Substance such as stone which do not dissolve in water are said to be insoluble in water. Some other examples of insoluble substance are oil, seeds, sand, etc. So student, the substance which do not dissolve in water are said to be insoluble. Which dissolve in water is soluble, which do not dissolve in water is insoluble. Some example of insoluble substance are oil, seed, sand. Not only solids and liquids, but there are many gases that can also dissolve in water. For example, oxygen and carbon dioxide. The animal that live in water breathe the oxygen dissolved in water. So student, not only solid and liquid, but there are many gases that can dissolve in water. The animal that live in water breathe oxygen dissolved in water. What happens when you open a bottle of soft drink? The bubbles come out. These bubbles are of carbon dioxide gas that is dissolved in the soft drink. So student, when you have like Coca-Cola or Pepsi, and when you open the bottle, what happens? You'll see bubbles coming out. These bubbles are of carbon dioxide gas that is dissolved in the soft drink. Objects that float or sink. What happens when you put a stone in water? Does it dissolve? Does oil dissolve in water? So students, now what happens when you put a stone in water? Does it dissolve? It melts. Does oil dissolve in water? So oil, if you put oil in water, does it dissolve? There are some substances that do not dissolve in water. For example, stones, oil, sand, wax, seeds and petrol. So like sugar and salt dissolve in water, but there are some things which do not dissolve in water. For example, stone, oil, sand. These substances either float or sink in the water. Substances such as oil, wax and petrol float on water, whereas the substance such as sand, stone and seed sink in water. Floating means to stay above the surface of a liquid, and sinking means to settle under the surface or at the bottom of a liquid. So some things sink In water, something float in the water. Okay, substance such as oil, wax, petrol, okay, float on water. And sand, stone, seed sink in water. Floating means to stay above the surface. Like example, you throw a ball, okay, in the water, you'll see it is floating. And if you throw a stone in water, it will sink. Okay? Lotus leaves and flowers float on water, but the stone, shell and sand sink to the bottom of the pond. So if you look at a lotus flower, you see the lotus leaf, okay, it floats on water, but the stone, shell and sand sink. Okay, dear students, I hope now you understood the chapter well.